Can you hear me?
Yes.
You can. Last time I was on Teams, the mic wasn't working. Vice Chair of the Community Council, Chair of Community Forum and various other things.
Thank you, Alan. Caroline?
Hi all, Caroline Miller from Comms World. I'm here tonight as part of the LOIPs to present something that we've been working on with the Driving Digital Local Group.
Thank you. Christine?
Hi, I'm Christine Boyle. I work with the Community Partnership team within North Lanarkshire Council as an Assistant Community Partnership Manager. Thank you.
And my guardian angel. Claire?
Hello.
Oh,
I'm Claire Brady and I'm the Dunbrook and Garrel Project Officer.
Thank you, Claire. Welcome to the meeting. Craig?
Hello, Bill. I'm Craig McIntyre. I represent the Council's growth team.
Thank you very much. Councillor Johnston?
Yeah, Dennis Johnston, one of the councillors that covers Kilsyth and the surrounding village.
Thank you very much, Dennis. Welcome to the meeting. Stephen?
Yeah, good evening. Stevie Dolan, Chief Superintendent from Police Scotland and Divisional Commander for Lanarkshire Division. I'm here tonight as the Chair of the Strategic Leadership Board for the Community Planning Partnership. A lot of big words in there, but pleased to meet you.
We're simple up here, so we'll try and understand that. as you've been at the board meeting before, haven't you, Stephen?
I haven't actually, so I've been looking
Has it
forward
not
to it.
been you? It's been somebody else equivalent to you. Right.
Not sure.
Well, welcome to the meeting.
Thank you.
Fiona?
Evening, colleagues. My name is Fiona Whittaker. I'm one of the Council's Chief Officers, but more importantly, I'm the Community Champion for Kilsyth.
Thank you, Fiona. Gail?
Hi everyone, my name is Gail Fulton. I'm the Health Improvement Senior here for NHS Lanarkshire.
Right, and I hear we're going to be losing you on various other things.
Yes, I'm moving on to a different role in health improvement.
Pastures new. Well, best of wishes, best of luck with that.
Thanks, Bill.
Ian?
Hi, my name is Ian Johnston. I work for Voluntary Action North Lanarkshire and I'm a Community Development Officer for the North.
And we have Janet Guest. Evening, Janet.
Janet, I think you're on mute.
I can't see Janet.
On mute. Yeah, I'm Janet McCarroll and I sit on Kilsyth Community Council as the Secretary.
Thank you, Janet. Jennifer?
Hi, I'm Jennifer Lees, Business Partnership Manager with North Lanarkshire Council, and I'm here tonight with Stevie as part of the input on the Strategic Leadership Board.
Thank you, Jennifer. Lynn?
Evening everyone, my name is Lynn Gow. I am the Communication and Engagement Lead for Council's Digital NL programme and I am responsible for the development of a Driving Digital Locally framework.
Thank you, Lynn. Matt?
Hi, good evening. I'm Matt Costello, Community Partnership Manager, North Lanarkshire Council.
Greg?
Evening, everybody. I'm Greg McHale. I'm the Community Sergeant for Kilsyth and the villages, also Cumbernauld and the Northern Corridor.
Thanks very much, Greg. Welcome to the meeting. And Ryan?
Hello, I am just a local resident that's listening in.
Grant, thank you very much, Ryan. You're more than welcome. Yep. Well, that's quite a crowd tonight. Yes. Right. Do we have any apologies?
Chair, I have 3 apologies. Robert Sloan has sent apologies. Mary from Cornerstone is tentative. I'm not sure if Mary's going to be able to make it tonight. And Gary Hoy has just submitted his apologies just before the meeting. Thanks,
Right.
Chair.
And I just had an email there, literally as we were talking, from Dennis O'Keefe. I'm sure it was, Dennis O'Keefe apologising that he's having difficulty logging in. So, right. Item 3, the minute of the previous meeting. Could I have a proposer? Even an official? I will propose the minute as been okay. Seconder?
Chair, Alan's giving a thumbs up there.
Okay, right, that's grand. Thank you. Does anybody have any matters arising from the minute? No. Right. The only one that I have is on page 1, and it's the role of the chair. That this is not a throne that is fully occupied by myself. It is open and free at no cost to anybody else in the community that would wish to take on the role as chair. And if you've never chaired a meeting before, then Community Matters, Matt and Christine and their amazing team will train you into it. Yes. So I would commend that be repeated in the minute, Christine, so that same as what you had last month. Well, if there's nothing else on that minute, could we move to item 4, Community Planning and Strategic Leadership Board presentation?
Thanks, Chair. I've hopefully shared my screen with members. If somebody could maybe let me know if it's appeared.
Yes, it's working okay.
Thanks very much. I'm conscious that the presentation was sent across within the document pack for the meeting, so if you don't mind, I'll maybe just zip through it, and happy to take any questions at the end. I can't really see everybody at the minute because I'm sharing my screen. But as I mentioned earlier on, I'm Stevie Dolan. I'm the chair of the Strategic Leadership Board for the Community Planning Partnership for North Lanarkshire. We're in a bit of a unique position in North Lanarkshire. The board is chaired by myself as a police officer. The vice chair is Jim Quinn, who's a senior firefighter, and that's quite unusual right across Scotland. Most community boards are, or most community planning partnerships are chaired by council members. I personally think that's quite refreshing because it does ensure that as a board we're looking right across the partnership to make sure we're delivering against the objectives. I put on the screen there who makes up the board. You'll hopefully see that it sits at chief executive or chief officer level, and that's intentional to the extent that members of that board should be empowered to make strategic level decisions, to commit resources where appropriate, including finance, in support of the objectives of the strategic partnership. One of the main roles of the board is to cut through bureaucracy, cut through blockages where they exist, and make decisions that allow us to support community boards and other groups within the community. Jennifer, I think you've got your hand up.
Stevie, your slides aren't moving on. Would you like me to drive the presentation?
Oh, give me a second. It moved on to my side, but maybe not yours. Is that
That's
it
now? Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. Yep. So, as I said, our role is to act as strategic decision makers and support the work of community boards and other agencies to make sure that we're delivering on behalf of the community. We need to make sure, and it's a requirement of legislation, that we've got effective community planning partnership arrangements so that we can listen to the community, respond effectively, and make sure that partners are essentially all pulling in the same direction. And there is an expectation that we will work together to deliver what's known as the Plan for North Lanarkshire, a document that was pulled together a while ago now, but remains, I would suggest, very much current and relevant to the issues that people and communities face in North Lanarkshire. There is a programme of work to support delivery of that over a 5-year period, and some of the subjects that it looks at are things like employability, health inequalities, income generation to the community and other strategic issues like that. And there is, as I say, a programme of work to make sure that delivery progresses. And one of the roles of the Strategic Leadership Board is to monitor that progress. So there are things that exist called health indicators. There are 28 of those, and they've been set for a 10-year period so that as strategic partners we can monitor progress against key indicators that have been created. There is ongoing engagement across the partnership so that we can combine resources and redirect them where required. But I recognise as the chair, and I think it's recognised by members, that the work of the community boards is where it should really all happen. Community boards are much closer to the actual community and the people who live there. And I see it as our main role as the Strategic Leadership Board to interact with and support the community boards. Hence my presence at the meeting tonight, to try and build on existing relationships and to listen to the issues that are of greatest concern to the community boards. And that is ongoing with all 9 community boards across North Lanarkshire. The local partnership teams referred to on the slide, who are represented on the meeting tonight, work hard within each of the community board areas to make sure that services are joined up. So police, fire, NHS, local authority and a range of others, including Van L and members of the third sector, are all working cohesively together to listen to the public, identify issues and challenges and face them head on so that we can improve the experience of living and working in the community. Local outcome improvement plans, which you're hopefully familiar with as board members, were devised in 2020 following some extensive consultation and research. They do differ across the community board areas, as you'll hopefully see from the slide, but there are some common themes which I would say are included in your own, and they revolve around employability, people having money worries, mental health challenges that exist within the community, and also matters like digital inclusion, which I believe will be covered later on in this meeting. The Strategic Leadership Board is really interested in how we can support community boards to deliver the LOIPs and also to get regular updates, which we would normally look to receive on a 6th monthly basis. But I'm certainly reassured as a chair of the board that there is a lot of good activity going on in each of the areas within North Lanarkshire, such as cost of living events, community breakfasts, training for frontline staff on issues such as money counts, development of community gardens, new play areas, CCTV improvements, and activities to tackle loneliness, isolation and mental health. It would be interesting to know your own thoughts as a board on the success of that or otherwise. But the LOIPs do exist, and I see it as the role of the Strategic Leadership Board to support the community and to support the community boards in delivering them across the partnership arrangements. And we have reflected ourselves as an SLB in relation to how we deliver our business. And we've recently gone through an exercise with an external body to review the work of the board. We've done a self-assessment and we've developed a community planning improvement plan, which we're seeking to deliver over the next 2 years. And it will look at the content of the board, agenda, the members of the board, and the frequency of the board meetings. But it will also consider and look to improve how we interact with groups such as the community boards. And hopefully to try and support that activity, we're moving towards circulating an invite for the first community board conference next year. That'll be towards the summer, but there will be some roadshows in advance of that, details of which Jennifer, who's on the call tonight, should be in a position to circulate shortly. And hopefully you'll find them a useful opportunity to learn more about partnership arrangements and to interact directly with members of the strategic board itself. Chair, that's all the information I was hoping to share with you tonight. Happy to take any questions or comments. Contact details for myself and other key stakeholders are in the pack. And likewise, more than happy to engage with individuals out with the meeting directly for anything you might want to discuss. Thank you for having me along tonight, and if it's okay with members, I'll stay for the rest of the meeting.
That's excellent. Thank you very much, Stephen. And Jennifer, have we got any questions to Stephen or Jennifer? I can't see everybody.
Chair Alan Stevenson has his hand up.
Right.
Yeah. Looking at the LOIPs across the board, there are a number of common themes, and it would be interesting to see just exactly how everyone is progressing. We've essentially come to ironically a bit of a dead stop with regards to transport, because there's very little that we can do here. We can look at footpaths and various other fairly localized improvements, but in terms of looking at transport in general, in terms of linking buses, trains, getting a better public transport set up across North Lanarkshire, there's not much we can do. We have looked at community transport stories in other parts of the country, but this is one where I think probably we should all get together and see if we can sort something out across all the boards.
Thanks, Alan. Chair, I'll respond to that if that's okay with yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
Alan, there was a really useful discussion at the Northern Corridor Community Board meeting last Wednesday about the exact same subject and some of the challenges that exist within the wider Northern Corridor area around access to bus services. There was some discussion around links into SPT, and quite helpfully there was a board member from SPT at that meeting, and one of the councillors is involved in SPT as well. It's certainly something that I know the local authority fed back at a strategic level in relation to some discussions a number of months ago. But I would agree, I think it might be useful if there can be a sharing of information across the community boards and to see how, as a wider partnership, we might want to take that forward.
Excellent. Thanks, Stephen. Thanks, Alan. Christine, that would be one that we could have a look at and follow up and see how we can actually make that happen. Some kind of, I don't know if a coordinated meeting or sections out of minutes or some kind of communication between all the boards. We'll see how we can do.
Yeah, Chair, I think Jennifer's got her hand up just now.
Oh, so she have. Yeah, thank you. Right, Jennifer.
Thank you, Chair. One of the things that Matt and I were discussing just before we came on the call tonight, the council is looking to produce its local transport strategy in the early new year. And you know that periodically we have these strategic engagement events where we pull all the community boards together to talk about what we call the big ticket items or matters that might be of interest to all the community boards. Well, our colleague Susan McDougall, who works in transportation in the council, would be very, very keen to do one of those strategic engagement events for all the boards on the new local transport strategy. And Matt and I were discussing that maybe being around mid-February time, if that's something that the community board wanted to diarise.
Yes, I think that would be a good idea. Excellent. Yes. Thanks, Jennifer. Any other questions to Stephen or Jennifer? No, don't see any hands. Right. Thank you both for coming along, and it's great if you're going to stay on for the rest of the board meeting. You'll get a general idea of what's going on in our area then. Good. Item 5 is the local outcome improvement plans. Now, Lynn and Caroline have got a presentation on digital mapping that the digital subgroup have been working on. So over to Lynn and Caroline.
Thanks, Chair. Carlan is actually going to lead on the presentation tonight, but just for a little background, as I say, I am responsible for the Driving Digital Locally framework, and part of that was to work with Comms World to deliver on a mapping exercise, which has been part of the action plan across North Lanarkshire for most of the LOIPs. So this is just the results of the first stage, and Carlan is going to take us through it tonight. So over to you, Carlan.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Chair. So yeah, there is an interactive dashboard that I'm going to share, but just before I go into that, I do want to share a bit of the journey that we've been on with this. It has been a journey of engagement with the Driving Digital Local subgroup, of which a number of you on tonight's board meeting are part of. But it has been engagement with key contributors, and I name a few of them, and you can actually read that for yourself who they are. But most certainly, it's been wider than just ourselves, North Lanarkshire Council and Comms World. It has been engagement with the Driving Digital Local subgroup, and Voluntary Action North Lanarkshire are also part of that subgroup. So this has been a gathering of information that does build upon one of the LOIPs, which is a digital inclusion LOIP, for which there was 7 out of 9 of the community boards have that as a priority within their community. So it built on that, and it took output. Bear with me, I don't think my slide has moved. That's it. Yeah, can you see that data gathering? So the actual the detail that came out of the digital inclusion LOIP was that people wanted to know what was available, what sorts of services to help towards digital inclusion they could make use of and was available to them. Our look at it with the digital Driving Digital Local group was it was more about not just what the council were delivering, but others too. So that was an important link to make sure that we didn't exclude anybody. We used the with Vanel, we used the community mailbox, the Community Matters mailbox, to make sure that the reach that we had was further. A few people on the call on tonight's board had one-to-one meetings with me just to get more input and just to make sure we were on the right track with this. So without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing this screen for a moment, and I'm going to show you the output. I just need to don't. Right, can you all see a dashboard, community digital services at the top? Yes.
Yes.
So what I'm sharing just now is an interactive map that has been pulled together with help from Jennifer's team within North Lanarkshire Council, the GIS team, and we pulled together all the information about all the services we know about and that people have told us about. So before I show you specifically your own area, I'll just demonstrate that the pins are community facilities, so they're libraries, community centres and other types of facilities. So in total we have 42 community facilities across the region and 59 activities there. There is more work to do. There were other entries that we need to cleanse a bit more and have more engagement with people, but for now this is what's available. And if I click on the right hand side here, I can see Kilsyth, and then that brings the map, it hones in on the particular facilities that are available within the Kilsyth region, Kilsyth area, sorry, not region. And down the right hand side, you can scroll, you can see what they are. So Wi-Fi access and bookable IT devices at the library. and it tells you the suitability for all. It gives you the email address, the phone number, and a link to the library's website so that you can get more information regarding things like opening times, etc. Again, there's the one-to-one IT support with smartphones, libraries within community board area, and then who it's suitable for and who to contact if you want more information. So there's an email address there. And Croy Community Hub, also, they have in building free Wi-Fi. So it pretty much shows, and there's a church, Kilsyth Anderson Church, that let us know that they have free access to Wi-Fi within the church as well, within the building. So that's a level of information that we've gathered thus far. We believe there might be gaps. We believe there might be more that's actually going on in each of the communities that we haven't captured yet. I'm going to come off sharing the map for now, and I'll go back to the slides. Sorry, folks, just give me one moment. So what next? Pretty much is what I wanted to say, is that this is a series of engagements with all the different boards across the region. So once we've finished that, we plan to share and advertise that dashboard that I presented there, so that you can share it within your community. You can pass it on to the citizens from Kilsyth, and to also, the next step for us is to go back to the Driving Digital local subgroup and to agree a mechanism for updates of this. So we are committing to that. We're committing to making sure that we keep this up to date, and to also add to it. We still have to agree the frequency of that, but it's pretty much the next steps. I just wanted to be clear that this isn't a once and done, that we are actually planning to keep this up to date and to add to it. And I'll take any questions if anybody has any.
Right, any questions for Caroline or Lynn?
Hi, it's Dennis O'Keefe, if I could just come in there.
Hi, Dennis.
Can I just ask, do you need to be a member of Driving Digital locally to be on the dashboard or to access it?
No, what the actual dashboard will be available to everyone, Dennis, and you can we tried to reach out to as many people as we could, right? So it wasn't just aimed at people that were on the group. It was actually sent out through the Community Matters mailbox to try and reach as many participants as we can. So yes, absolutely, it's for anyone who actually lives in the areas, so that they can see what's on and what services they
The
can
reason I
use.
was asking was when we were, as part of the Chatterbox group, Bill will know, because Bill asked me several times about when we were coming to Kilsyth. And the issue we had with there and kind of round about Muir End was that we couldn't get a location if we weren't. We were told that we weren't. We were an external partner, so we couldn't actually hire the place to deliver it. We told it first of all that there wasn't IT services, and then we were told there were, but because I know you, Bill, tried to help me at the Garrow Vale, I think. So I just any kind of barrier.
So you kindly took part, Dennis. You brought you mentioned Chatterbox, and it is in there, but we need to follow up with things like that. So those are the sort of things that absolutely we want to see and be able to include in a way that is useful.
Yeah, and make it available. And saying that, I mean, that is more a response to COVID, and the way our funding's changed. It's not likely at this stage to be repeated. Although I'm very happy to share any successes we had and any issues, and setting that up with any other groups that might wish to do something similar.
I think the important thing, before I go to Alan, who's got his hands up, the important thing is that this is literally brand new, and it's very much in the infancy. What we're seeing tonight is very limited information, and we need to continue to collect information to make that mapping. I see that mapping as being absolutely a fantastic asset in many areas to the community. And if we can keep feeding in information to Caroline, that mapping will get better and better. But the important thing about it is, and we highlighted that at the digital subgroup meeting, was we can't superimpose lots of things onto the map or it starts to get lost. We can create maps for individual targeted areas, but what we're looking at just now is the IT, the broadband, the Wi-Fi provision in the area. But it could equally be what is there for health and well-being, or what is there for the arts, or whatever. The tool is very powerful indeed. Alan?
Yes, one of the things I noticed that which is essential is that this is constantly updated. So the information is current, it's live. How will the updating be done? Will it be done centrally, or will the community be able to add stuff on? Unfortunately, I missed your presentation at the last digital meeting. And is it scrutinised for errors? Because I think I spotted one.
If you've spotted one, we want to know about it, and we're going to give you away. Lynn will provide a contact detail, but what we plan to do with it is to make sure that it's fed in. Right, it is central, but with feeds coming from those who know information or spot an error or anything like that. We do want feedback. We do want to hear if you have something to add or something to change, then we want to know about it.
Thank you.
But yes, the important thing is the updating. That's the thing about technology. It's totally useless for the public if it's out of date. And
yes.
That's why we as a group need to look at how often are we going to update this, and what the commitment for that updating is.
So
who's going to do it?
Okay, so because I've been showing this to several boards, there is a disclaimer at the front that tells you when it was updated last, and the feedback you're given, it will help towards us making sure that we do this. The frequency of updates has to be reasonable also, so it's not too onerous on anyone, but at the same time, so that it does actually give you information you need when you need it.
Yeah. Any other questions for Lynn or for Caroline? No. Thanks very much, Caroline and Lynn, for that. That was excellent. I must admit, as I said, I see this as a very powerful tool going out into the community, but it's going to take time.
Okay.
Now, I want it tomorrow.
Yes.
And then no excuses. Absolutely no excuses. I want it tomorrow. But
well, thank you for your time, and I'll see you soon. All right.
Right, Caroline. Thank you. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Right. Next item on the LOIPs is the food and financial security. Christine.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I'll just give a quick update. We circulated some information with the papers for the meeting. So just very, very quickly, the recent meeting took place place on the 16th of November. The group has been carrying out a mapping of food and financial insecurity activity across Kilsyth and villages. So far, 13 organisations have completed that, but at the last meeting we identified that there's a number of other ones that are still not included that information on the kind of mapping exercise. So we are actually contacting those groups to encourage them to put the information on, because it's very much up to the groups themselves to do that. There was a recent cost of living event that took place in Croy, but the group have decided that they would like to carry out cost of living type events on a quarterly basis across Kilsyth and villages, rotating them round about each of the communities within the Kilsyth and villages community board area, and they're hoping to look at a kind of potential event targeting the parents and carers at St Patrick's Primary School, kind of round about February, March as a kind of kick-off to that. Similar to the one that was carried out in Kilsyth Primary School at the beginning of the year. So the group are planning to do a range of events to try and get information and support out to local community members. Thanks, Chair. Happy to take any questions on that.
Thanks, Christine. Any questions to Christine? No? Right. Health and wellbeing. I've got it down as Sharon, but Sharon's not here. So Gail, are you speaking to that?
Yes, that's
right.
me.
Thank you.
Within the subgroup, we are also working on a mapping exercise to understand the the better understanding of the health and wellbeing provision within the board area. So it's been proven quite a large task, but we've now got a process for that. It's been agreed that the health services hosted out with the board area will also be included, and we're going to group the information into sections such as physical health, mental health, social health and young people. So that work is ongoing just now, but the purpose of that is mainly just for us as a subgroup to gather information as a baseline of the existing assets within the board area and to identify the gaps in service for further work. That was the most recent meeting has been a couple of weeks ago, and they've been meeting every 6 weeks from there. The current school contact that we had attending the subgroup is no longer in post, but we have made contact with the new post holder, and we're hoping they'll continue to meet with the group and support the LOIP actions. We're also hoping to explore the new school hub rooms within Kilsyth Academy. There's 2 rooms within the academy and 1 room within Kilsyth Primary. And the purpose of these rooms are for the pupils and carers and the community to access this space to provide potential educational opportunities. And we're also looking at possible links with North Lanarkshire Council Creative Arts Department and also North Lanarkshire Council Dumbreck Marsh Project Officer. Claire is now also a member of the subgroup, so welcome Claire to the subgroup. We are continuing to identify and recruit new members, so if anyone is interested, please get in touch. I've added a few health improvement updates as well onto the paper circulated, but I just want to highlight a few areas. So for example, health improvement supported the creation of a monthly strength and balance class within St Patrick's Welcome Group in Kilsyth. So North Lanarkshire Leisure are actually providing instructors that go along to the group, and are going to and the group themselves are contributing to the cost of each session. It's proposed about 15 people will come along to that, and there's been further health improvement input along the way for other support such as breast cancer awareness. Similarly to that, there is going to be the start of the Wild Ways Well programme to start with Croy Hub in January time. That is a project structured around the 5 ways for wellbeing, is promoting good mental health. So that's another positive piece of partnership working. And just to highlight as well, Health Improvement have a training and learning website where staff members within NHS Lanarkshire and also communities can access training, and that's around the 6 public health priorities. So that things like alcohol and drugs, mental health, early years, smoking and vaping, physical activity, sexual health. There's a whole host of them, so I can share that link for you to have a look at as well within the community. And I'm working on a winter pack just now coming up for the winter period for where you can access support and resources in your local area. So that will be shared with Community Matters and out with communities as well before everything kind of closes down for Christmas time, so you know where to access support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gail. Any questions to Gail? I would just add on to that, Gail, that the mapping exercise that we're doing at our last meeting, we agreed would be concluded and finalised for the 18th of December, and that after that it would become an updating exercise.
Yes.
So that we have a date to pull things together instead of being open-ended. So that's good, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. Kilsyth Town Centre, Ian?
Thanks so much, Bill. To give a bit of an update on what we've been working on, right. We've been kind of exploring some different new agenda items we might want to explore through the subgroup, in particular looking at how we could use some of the local development plan money to accelerate some projects, in particular looking at potential options for expanding community wealth building and circular economy. Some ideas around that would be a community food network, taking inspiration from both what they have in Edinburgh and Glasgow. That giving an idea on some of those aspects. They have seed banks that can be helped and provided to local communities. But in addition to this, one of the things we were exploring was potentially inviting various environmental organisations along and having a bit of an event with our partners coming in the new year to explore how we could enhance the town centre, support businesses, social enterprises and the like, and tackle sustainability more broadly. So that'll be developed in coming months. And then again, beyond that, I was also looking at how we again tie up to Dumbreck Marsh and we can help to signpost and improve connections in those regards. Broadly, we are continuing to feed this information back to the Green Health Network to make sure that's shared with our colleagues in the NHS. And work will kind of continue broadly to see how we can improve that environment. Any questions?
Right, thank you very much, Ian.
Thank you.
Youth engagement, Christine.
Okay, thanks, Chair. Again, we circulated two pieces of information around about youth engagement. Circulated a kind of summary report of the findings of the youth engagement that has gone on over the past period with young people across Kilsyth and villages, within schools and within youth groups and voluntary organisations as well. We consulted with a total of 126 young people. Most of that was face-to-face through 15 workshops in a variety of settings. And we'd like to obviously thank those who helped us to be able to do that, including the workers within, the voluntary workers within the youth groups, but also homeschool partnership officers within the schools that helped to set up meetings with young people in Kilsyth Academy and within St Maurice's High School as well. There was a number of key points that have come out of that, and I think that's the next stage for this engagement, is to look at what we do about the information that we've found. So some of the things that came out, young people felt that there was a bit of injustice towards them, feeling that they were blamed in relation to things that they don't do, and that was something that they were quite keen to have everyone hear. And they did ask that children's rights should be respected. I think a number of these things were in relation to things maybe that have happened round about the main street that a lot of people on the call will be aware of, but some young people felt that they were getting blamed for things when it wasn't them. There was a whole range of discussion around about consultation and engagement. Young people were not aware of opportunities that are available to them, so we need to improve communication. Young people felt the best way to consult with them was through schools and through youth groups, particularly in a face-to-face manner. That was seen to be the most important way of contacting and speaking to young people. They mentioned things like food and financial insecurity, which directly links to some of the other subgroups, and the cost of living and how that limits what young people are able to do. And they also mentioned about affordability of resources necessary for school, although they did actually say that schools put in place a number of things to support pupils. So, but that was felt that digital inclusion and things like that was certainly brought out as part of that discussion as well. There was also, in relation to health and wellbeing, which again links in with the subgroups, vaping was a huge issue for young people. Young people weren't necessarily clear about the effects, but they did make a point about raising the issue of unsafe disposal of the batteries, which is something we need to think about in terms of kind of fire and rescue and other work that we need to do to kind of get that information across to young people. Other health issues, mental health, a lot of people feeding back that they stay at home now more due to financial issues. So that is something that was brought up. Drug use, including addiction, alcohol, is quite popular amongst young people, and that was raised by the young people as things that we need to have a look at as well. Community involvement, just under half of the young people would consider volunteering but didn't know how to go about it. So again, that's an issue for us to think about. Young people weren't aware of the opportunities available to them in relation to volunteering. So half of them would volunteer but don't know what's out there. Community safety, there was information coming across about risky behaviour around waterways. There are a number of them round about Kilsyth and villages. Digital inclusion, online bullying, abuse and access to Wi-Fi, and again that fits in with some of the other priorities there. They mentioned safety, bullying and peer pressure, adults being given tips to do jump-ins, which we're probably aware of, but they were saying it's easy enough for young people to access alcohol if other people are going to buy it for them. So that was the kind of things that they wanted to look at. In terms of the overall, the group now have kind of started to look at the information that's coming out of that. One of the kind of things that the group are thinking about is having some sort of event for young people that looks at some of the issues that's been identified and passes on information. And we're looking at linking with the Community Alcohol Partnership, and Greg's obviously on the line here as well, to look at how we can maybe pull something together relatively soon to be able to kind of pass that information over to young people, you know, to look at some of the issues that's come out of that consultation. But we've certainly gathered a wide range of information from young people that I think is really, really helpful for us to understand what it's like for young people to live in the Kilsyth and Villages area. We did make a point of making sure that there was young people from the villages at the consultation as well, and we specifically asked the homeschool partnership officers in the schools to have groups for just young people from Banton, from Queenieburn and from Croy, and that's included within the consultation as well. Happy to take any questions, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Any questions to Christine?
Hi, Christine, no any questions, but just to note that a couple of points relate the same with older people, the financial situation.
Hold on, who's speaking?
Oh, sorry, it's Dennis.
Oh, right.
Right. Sorry, I thought it was like
Dennis O'Keefe. Right.
Yes, indeed, Bill.
Right.
Yeah, that's very similar problems to older people with financial situation leading to isolation. And I don't know if it's the same thing. I know certainly for older people, and I know we're on the subject of younger people, sorry, but they could be doing, as many folk have said to me, I'm fine during the day. It's when the darkness comes down and the curtains close, I feel isolated. They're less likely to go out to groups. So there is a need for some sort of online groups that folk can join, I think, in the evening. I'd just like to throw that in there. I don't know if that works the same with the younger people, but probably if they're staying at home.
Yeah, thanks very much, Dennis. Though this is targeted particularly to the younger generation.
Yeah, just drawing the comparison there.
Right. Okay. Joanne?
Hi, Christine. You mentioned about volunteering and obviously younger adults not being aware of volunteering. We're in the process of working with Active Schools to actually get our volunteering opportunities out there through schools, and also tonight, obviously, I would obviously like to speak to the community boards, and probably within the early part of the new year, we will be displaying QR codes round about North Lanarkshire with volunteering opportunities. So please pass that back, and if I can be involved at any point, then just please let me know. Thanks, Christine. Thanks, Chair.
Thanks, Joanne. Just as a matter of information, and Christine, I'll have a chat with you about it out with the meeting, this meeting. But the content of this face-to-face and that short report is actually very eye-opening. And what we have to do is to make sure that we follow up all the things in here, so that we can feed back to these young people that, yeah, we are listening, and we are doing something, and keeping them involved through that process. And the element of alcohol and drugs and stuff like that, it came up at another meeting that I was chairing this morning, and we had a consultant out from NHS Lanarkshire who specialises in addiction and alcoholism, and it was really quite enlightening what she was saying. And the element of the alcohol, we need to speak about the licensing board and the licensing forum. Yes. But the other thing, circulating that report would be quite good, particularly to Stephen. Stephen would be interested in some of the comments that the young folk are making about jump-ins and the drugs and etc., particularly from a police and a security point of view. So we'll have a wee chat about how who we should circulate this report to, because there's other groups out there that would benefit from seeing that element of young people. And NHS, they've done a very similar exercise, and they're willing to send that information out to me on their meetings with young people.
Chair, if you don't mind me just kind of quickly saying that, we've said to any groups that have allowed us to go in and work with young people and consult with them, we've asked that we'll circulate it to them first, because obviously, although they were sitting in the consultation as well, but we will feed it to them first so that they've got that feedback, and then we should be able to circulate that wider.
We should circulate it or give it only to the people that can actually work with us on developing it, rather than just the wider membership, the wider community. Good. Dennis, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, it was just a quick jump back to Joanna when we were talking about the volunteering opportunities. Have we asked the younger people what they would like to see, what project they would like to volunteer at, and maybe there's a gap there that might be addressed?
Yeah, definitely. Dennis, as part of, and I'd mentioned, we're working as part of the Future Fridays, which is kind of S4 to S6 that actually volunteer on a Friday afternoon, because you'll be aware that schools close at 12:30 now. So that's part of a project that we are working on. Within volunteering, we do have opportunities predominantly that would be for kind of early adults within sports coaching, and there's some other themes in there that would probably be appropriate for them. But yeah, definitely, we can look at kind of consulting with them and see where we can support them. We can look at implementing roles that would be suitable for them.
I was just wondering whether that might doubly tackle the issue of digital inclusion, with the fact that the training, that's a big gap in the market. It's great provision, but in my experience, it's been the lack of training provision. And I found that younger folk I've really got the patience actually when it comes to older folk when they're doing that, just my experience.
Yeah, as part of volunteering, I'll get to that, Dennis, when I give my presentation. We have a kind of structured pathway for our volunteers and also accreditation that may be particularly interest to the young adults. The Saltire accreditation is 12 to 25.
Great. Christine?
Thanks, Chair. I was just going to say as well that some of the information that's in the summary, there's much more information than that we've gathered from young people. And some of the questions that we discussed was, what would they be interested in volunteering in? There was a wide variety of things, from environmental to volunteering within youth groups and all sorts of things. So there's certainly additional information that can be gleaned from the consultation that's taking place.
Thank you, Christine. Right, public and community transport, Ian.
Thanks so much, Bill. We kind of touched on some of these aspects earlier in the call. We've had kind of limited progress in regards to the public transport side of things and some elements of connect and active travel. That being said, there's been suggestions for the better buses for Strathclyde approach, And again, one of the things we will be looking to do in the coming months is to do a survey around how we can improve transport, what people's opinions are, and kind of gather some more information around that, and particularly using the Police Standard tool to see how we can gather more information around those topics. In addition to that, I think there'll probably be a bit more of a reorientation into improving cycling where possible and making sure people have better access to bikes. Sorry, that would be in regards to funding that we'd be able to share out and partnering with some of our other partners in the region.
Grand. Thank you, Ian. Any questions to Ian? No. Christine, targeted action.
Thanks, Chair. Just a quick update again, as again the information was circulated. Just a wee update that Livingston Park Play Park has now officially opened. So well done to the Livingston Park group for working with the community partnership team to progress that project. So our understanding is it's been a real success and young people are really enjoying the experience in the park. Bogside Park upgrade, that is now, the consultation has been completed on that and that is now out to tender. So hopefully we should get tenders back with a view to that being upgraded before the end of the year. So that is one of the other areas, and that's come to us via Kirtlands and Bogside, Kirtlands and Barry Place tenants and residents. There's a meeting taking place. Well, meetings, have been taking place with Rennie and Northfield, the new Tenants and Residents Association. It's been supported to develop in one of the kind of areas in Kilsyth. And there is going to be a kind of wider community meeting, an inaugural meeting for the group in January. And that's great because that's really important that we've got a kind of voice of local people being developed within the kind of Rennie Road and Northfield area of Kilsyth. So that's moving forward really well. What we in terms of all the other subgroups, in terms of targeted action, we are looking to use the learning that we're gaining from all the consultations that are taking place to be able to understand what the other needs are within some of the kind of targeted areas within Kilsyth. So we will be doing that as a plan moving forward as well. Bill, Chair, is there anything you want to add to that? I know you're kind of involved with that, the targeted action group.
No, that's we've covered that and covered it in the report quite well. Thanks very much, Christine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Any
Chair.
questions to Christine? Anybody got their hands up? No. Right. Okay. The local partner updates. We have a report from Police Scotland. Is there any questions to that report that's been circulated? Nope. Right. The Scottish Fire and Rescue, they circulated a report. Any queries or questions to that? Nope. Good. And Voluntary Action North Lanarkshire. The only thing that, and I've spoke to Christine about it, is that in December 2023, that they're going to utilise all their information that they've collected to do a final draft. And what we're saying is, what we would want is a copy of that final draft before it goes to a meeting in January. So we'll work on that and get a copy. Yes. I don't have a report from NHSL, from the health service. So we'll come back to that in due course. Volunteer NL, Joanne. Right.
Hi everyone, just a moment just to start sharing my presentation.
I think Joanne's put herself on hold. You still with us, Joanne? No, I don't really see Joanne on the list now. I think she's lost.
No, doesn't seem to be on the list, Chair. I think she's
No,
maybe
you confirming
dropped
that,
out.
right?
Yeah.
She's just appeared back on, Chair.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, she's back
Yeah,
again.
Joanna, she's come back on now.
Right.
Having some problems sharing. Sorry, apologies. Just give me a moment.
Don't worry, Joanne, the suspense is killing. We're really looking forward to this now.
It must be. Just bear with me now. I'm going to try and do it another way. I tried to load it through Teams, but it's obviously not loading properly.
Oh, there we go.
Can you see it now? Sorry,
I can see
sorry
it.
everyone. Sorry. My name is Joanna Kingsley, and I manage Volunteer NL, and Volunteer NL is part of the UKSPF Shared Prosperity Fund that came via the government to North Lanarkshire Council. Basically, we are funded under the Shared Prosperity Fund under the theme of communities and place, and it's to promote and support the development and enhancement of volunteering opportunities within North Lanarkshire. And basically what we are doing and what our project objectives are at Volunteer NL is to ensure that people that are engaged in volunteering through North Lanarkshire Council and community groups have an appropriate pathway whilst they're doing their volunteering. What that may be would be in terms of appropriate training to ensure they're able to carry out their volunteering roles. And in some cases, it can lead to further employment. I touched earlier on our volunteer system and how we will be sharing that round about North Lanarkshire with our volunteer opportunities. And also, you know, we have volunteering opportunities that would be of interest to particularly younger adults and all older adults. The kind of landscape of volunteering is quite broad in terms of the roles that we have available. So really, I was wanting to let the community boards know a bit about volunteering and what we're doing and what our project aims and objectives are. Our project is funded until March 2025, and our project was launched in May of this year. To date, we're engaging with existing volunteers within active and creative communities in education, sports development, museums, libraries, country parks, and reaching out to local voluntary groups. Hence why I'm here tonight and would like to try and make some links with the community boards, who in turn could advise their community groups about the volunteering opportunities that we have at Volunteer NL, or we may be able to support them in fulfilling volunteer needs that they have within their groups. Within the community. We also work closely with VANL because we support a common theme of volunteering with VANL. We also have a challenge fund as part of our funded project. Our challenge fund runs over 2 years, 23, 24 and 24 and 25. Basically, our challenge fund is to award local groups and organisations with a small amount of money to ensure that they are creating appropriate pathways within their volunteer groups. Now, most volunteer groups that I know are all most kind of sporting groups that I know, or any groups within communities, are predominantly run by volunteers. And it has been said before that volunteers are actually using their own money to have uniforms, for expenses, for training and for any events. Now, the Challenge Fund, if awarded to local groups and organisations, would be able to fund the promotion of the marketing, events, training, uniforms and PPE and travel and expenses. Our fund opened on the 31st of October and it shuts on the 18th of December. Unfortunately, we don't have a digital application. In terms of how we're issuing applications, we are sending any groups or organisations applications via email, where they can apply and then scan it back to us, and also postage as an option as well. So we can post as well to any groups or organisations. On the next slide, we have an email address where any groups that may be interested could reach out to us on volunteering@northland.gov. UK. The grants that we will be awarding are between £500 to £3,000. And once the application closes, we will be looking to score in January 2024 for them to issue the funding out to local community groups. Does anyone have any questions that they would like to ask?
Any questions? Alan?
Yeah, just having a wee look at the list of things that are eligible for grants now.
Yeah.
Just wondering if tools would come into any of this, somewhere in here. I know we've got uniforms and PPE, but there are some groups who do environmental work where access to tools and equipment might be useful.
Yes, most certainly, Alan. If they pop that in the application, then it would be considered. Anything that is classed as creating volunteer opportunities and also ensuring that they're able to carry out their roles appropriately, whether that be with tools that were required. So yeah, if they pop that in their application, we could most certainly take that into consideration.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alan. Christine?
Thanks, Chair. I just wanted to remind everyone, I was going to bring it up later under funding, but there's Recover NL funding available, and you can certainly, for groups like environmental groups, I know Alan, you have accessed that before for some tools and things like that, so that is still open just now. So if there's anything like that that you require, please make sure you get your application in. The money's obviously, there's only a certain amount of money there, so we want to make sure that Kilsyth and villages make the most of that funding, so please put applications in for that.
Good, thanks, Christine. Right, Joanne, you're closing it on the 18th of December.
Yes.
And you're assessing. Will it open up again at any other point?
Yes, Chair, it would open again next year. So we would award once each year. So just now being a 23-24 award, and next year round about October to December again, we would award for 24 into 25.
Right. And would the group making an application, would they be constituted and have a bank account?
Yes, that is correct.
Name? Yeah.
Yes.
Very similar to North Lanarkshire's grant system.
Yes.
You need to be constituted. Mm-hmm.
If it would be easier, I could send you the grant guidelines so you could have a look at it.
That would be excellent.
No problem. Sure.
Just on an email, that would be great.
Of course, yeah.
Email anyway. So, Christine again.
Chair, I was just wanting to say to Joanna that if she wants to, I can circulate it through Community Matters so that everybody on the call would get access to that. Yep.
Excellent, Christine. Thank you very much. I can get that over to you.
That's good. God, we're going to be busy between now and the 18th of December. I can tell you. Right, any other questions to Joanne? That was excellent, Joanne. Thanks very much.
No problem.
My mind was going 90 to the dozen there, thinking, right, what about them? What about this? Right, okay.
Yeah, of course. Well, I've circulated information to Christine, Chair, and the email address is there. So should you need any further information, please reach out to us.
Grand, thank you very much. 6, Community Matters Town Action Plan. Craig?
Thank you, Chair. Thanks for the opportunity to come along tonight. I'm here to promote the fact that the Council are looking to produce a draft town action plan as part of a programme of work that's related back to the plan for North Lanarkshire and the Economic Regeneration Delivery Plan. That started way back in 2019 when it was decided that we needed to look at our town centres and our towns in a different way from the way that we looked at them in the past. So rather than focusing on public assets and public interventions, we're looking at the wider town, because the fact of the matter is the majority of our towns are actually private assets, not public assets. So that led to the promotion of draft town visions, which were publicised online because of COVID restrictions back in 2020 and 21. However, we got a good response and support for the conceptual proposals in those town visions, which were all about transformative change. And for those that don't know, the biggest transformative change in terms of Kilsyth is the proposal or the concept of bringing the high school off the hill and down closer to the town centre, so they can share the benefit of co-location. As I say, the town visions were conceptual. They were meant to basically shake the tree about what can and cannot happen across all 8 towns in North Lanarkshire. And basically they were deliberately broad brush because it was about starting the conversation with the private sector owners and who have control of the majority of the assets in the town centres. So the next thing, once they were approved, which was in September 2021, was that we then moved on to look at how we deliver the town visions. And delivery is going to be through town action plans, which are, in simple terms, documents which list the site-specific proposals and developments that we, the council, the third sector, our partners and the private sector are seeking to deliver across all 8 towns in North Lanarkshire. In a Kilsyth context, that means speaking to existing landowners about what they're doing with assets, which in some cases are vacant and derelict. In others, it's about talking to the community groups and the stakeholders in Kilsyth about what they want to see delivered in the town, because the action plans, unlike the town visions, are focused on delivery in the short, medium and long term. As I say, we've started the public engagement process for the draft town action plan. We held a public meeting in Kilsyth Academy back on the 11th of November. Unfortunately, it had to be rescheduled from an earlier date because of illness within the team. But we got, in terms of the other events that have happened across Bells Hill, Coatbridge and Shotts, we got a relatively good turnout at the meeting, approximately 20 people. The best thing for me was that the majority of those people stayed for the breakout session, which was effectively the key part of having that meeting, which was to listen to the people who had attended the meeting and listen to what they want their town to be. So that's a very key thing for us. So obviously we've captured the information that we gained at that public meeting. That's allowed me to refine the draft document, and the intention is to publish a draft town action plan for Kilsyth on the 11th of December. And that'll be basically published on the 11th of December online. There'll be a physical exhibition in the local library in Kilsyth. There'll be an online parallel exhibition on the council's website, which will allow electronic comments to be made on the content of the draft. And one of the key observations from the public meeting is that we deliberately came to that public meeting with a blank piece of paper. We had some key themes that we wanted to address, but what we didn't have was a prescribed content. We wanted the content to be driven by the community itself. And I think that in part might be why we didn't get the numbers that we would hope for at that public meeting. In my experience of 30 plus years of local government, people react to something that's written rather than something that's not written. So I'm hoping that through the exhibition period, there's going to be a lot more reaction to what is included in that draft document. I'm hoping for that, because really what my job is to do is to build a consensus with the community around the content of the draft action plan, so that we get the priorities clear, we get the proposed developments the right thing in the right place. But it's also about managing expectations, because to a certain extent, the town action plans are driven by opportunity, the opportunity that exists from either vacant sites that the council owns, which is the case in other towns. Unfortunately, the council doesn't own a lot of vacant land in and around the town centre in Kilsyth. So it's all about building those partnerships and relations with the private sector, which we are currently doing, and hoping that they come to fruition in terms of the private sector either agreeing to deliver change in terms of our ambition for town centre living directly, or in partnership with the council in terms of perhaps some financial assistance, or with our partners such as RSLs to deliver the change that is needed. The third element of public engagement, other than the exhibition in the library, which will run from the 11th of December to the 3rd of February, is that we're going to hold a youth workshop to basically build on a lot of the themes that I read in the CLD's report on youth engagement. As I've said to Bill and Alan in the past, it's very important that we capture the youth view as to Kilsyth, because effectively we're looking at 5, 10, 15-year programmes of action here. So the youth of today will be the young adults of tomorrow. And one of the things that we've discussed with the schools is a series of open questions to the youth, to basically ask them what would make them stay in each town, what would make them want to be young adults living and hopefully working, or living and commuting but returning to Kilsyth, Bellshill, Shotts, etc. Because it's important that we try and retain the population, because as we know, population drives public services. So if we have a falling population, then there's a danger that some of these public services can no longer be supported. So that's part of the discussion. And as I say, I was very keen to observe the comments in that youth report, and I'm hoping to work with CLD on looking at if they can run similar surveys and engagement across all 8 towns if they've not already done so. So basically, the next 8 weeks of from the 11th of December to the 4th of January is an opportunity for the public to come and to respond to the draft document. I will be available in the library 1 day a week over a 6-week period, offering 18 hours of access to officers of the council for the community to actually come in and speak to myself and my colleagues. That includes 4 afternoon sessions, but more importantly 2 evening sessions to allow those that work during normal office hours to attend in the evening in the library to basically discuss any issues or concerns or proposals that they may have. So it's going to be a very busy December and January for myself and my colleagues. We will be going out to the 3 libraries in Bellshill, Shotts and Kilsyth, so hopefully we'll get to know the experts of the community, which is the community themselves. But all of that engagement and the knowledge that we'll hopefully gather from the people, that'll be absorbed, and it'll be added to the draft document to prepare a final town action plan. And the intention is, if everything goes well, that we have a final version of the town action plan to present to the Enterprise and Fair Work Committee at cycle 2, which is in April 2024. Now, other towns have expressed concern at the rapid nature of the project, but we have to basically have things like the town vision and the town action plan in place, because by having these documents, it makes it easier for us to access external funding or to argue for internal funds from our 5-year capital programmes. An example of that being because the Airdrie Town Vision was in place when Historic Environment Scotland made it clear that they were making available development funding and capital funding for heritage investment, we were able to demonstrate that the community of Airdrie were supportive of heritage refurbishment towards new and long-term uses, and that enabled us to secure £150,000 in development funding to basically come forward with detailed proposals, and then access to approximately £2.4 million of capital funding. So for those that say, you know, what is the value of the Town Action Plan, it's in basically, as well as communicating to the public that there are positive potential outcomes for Kilsyth. It also is an advocacy document to work towards securing additional funding for projects in Kilsyth. So really, that's all I have to say at this moment in time, and I'm more than happy to take some questions from the group.
Have we got any questions to Craig? And we won't be going on all night about it. Alan, how did I know he was going to ask a question?
Well, I was just going to say I was a wee bit disappointed because I thought Bill and I were the youth engagement. But,
you're the pillars upon which any engagement is invested. So no, I do thank you for attending that meeting and the contributions that you made. Always welcome.
I was just going to ask, will the workshops that you're intending to hold with the various youth organisations, will that be fed into, will that occur before the 11th of December, before the report? I thought it would be a bit fine in terms of trying to fit that in.
No. The way that we're looking at this programme is that there's an arc to it, Alan, and that as long as we can basically reach out to and get that information from that youth workshop event, then that will be able to be fed into the final document. To be honest, we didn't see we didn't have the time to basically delay the project to build in that youth workshop. But the more that we've considered it as officers, the more we realise there's a good value that will come out of that. But just to be clear, in terms of the logistics, it will be a youth workshop that will be focused on working with the high schools, and there'll be an agreement with the high schools that high school pupils will survey the primary schools in the area, and then the high schools will present the findings of that survey as part of the youth workshop. It follows a model that we employed in the Cumbernauld area when we had some external guests from the Bauhaus Institute in Germany that came over to do a big project in Cumbernauld Town Centre, and we basically reached out to the secondary schools in Cumbernauld, who then reached out to the primary schools, and what came out of that, the outcome of that, was that each secondary school did a sort of 10-minute presentation on what they'd learned from that survey that they did themselves, but also, more importantly, what the youth wanted to see in the future, in the short, medium and long term. And that's what I'm hoping to capture from this. But I can't be specific at the date for that event. It will be run through the schools, so it won't be an open event, but obviously the information from it will be shared and circulated and posted on the Town Action Plan web pages. There was another point I was going to make, is that as with the town visions, if there are constituted groups that wish to have presentations about the Town Action Plan during the exhibition period, then I'd be more than happy to consider that. But to be worthwhile to them and to be worthwhile to myself, it would need to be a reasonable number of people. I can't basically allocate several evenings a week to be going out talking to 5 or 6 people. For example, if the Kilsyth Community Council request a specific presentation for the KCC, I'd be more than willing to do that. Likewise, if there's a specific group related to elderly users, for example, or elderly citizens, I'd be happy to respond to any requests for that. But as Bill and Alan both know, we only have a single staff resource on this, and it's me, and I'm doing 3 towns over the same period. So although there's a lot of me to go around, I still can't be stretched that thinly. So that's where we're at just now, Alan.
Okay, any other questions to Craig? Grand. Thanks very much for that, Craig. And
one more, sorry, so I've remembered the point I was hoping to make, Chair, and that was, please, please, please spread the news that the exhibition is going to take place. And to make a formal request to those on the meeting, if you are aware of specific Facebook groups, etc., Friends of the Kelvin Valley, Friends of Colzium House, Friends of Dumbreck Marsh, please let myself and the Community Matters team know, because we want to try and saturate the publicity and all the existing networks that are there to try and get the message out that you've got 8 weeks to get your thoughts and views and proposals into this process, and the more people we can reach out to, the better. So that's the main request from myself, is to use the networks that you have available to you to basically communicate the fact that that exhibition starts on the 11th, finishes on the 4th. I will be going round the town centre, dropping off leaflets and posters, putting posters up in the usual places, but word of mouth is always the fastest way to travel. So, Chair, if I can impose upon the groups that you're aware of and that Alan's aware of to spread the word, I'd be delighted. Thank you.
Grant, thanks very much, Craig. And you can be assured that this is one organisation that will not be too worried if that April committee was actually brought forward to like January or February.
Well, January we're still consulting, Bill. You know, so we have to give the public their place.
and to facilitate that, Craig, you could have Christmas Day and New Year's Day off.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate that. Get that in writing.
No problem. Christine, write to him and tell him he's gone. Thank you very much indeed, Craig. 7, local engagement. Christine?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked a lot about local engagement up to now through the LOIPs. I don't have anything to add in relation to that, but just to say that if there's any other consultation that board members are aware of that they want to share, there's an opportunity within this point to raise anything that you're aware of. But over and above the other ones that have been discussed, there isn't anything new for that this time. Thanks,
Right.
Chair.
Thanks, Christine. And you're on the next one as well, funding.
Cheers, thanks, Chair. I did mention Recover NL funding there. There's only been 2 applications received from the Kilsyth and Villages so far. I know some are in hand because I've spoken to yourself, Bill, we've spoken to Croy, and we know there's some coming in. But just to reiterate the fact that, as I said earlier, there's funding there for the Kilsyth area and the villages. So please send in applications. If people haven't done, we can certainly submit or circulate the email address if people want to submit applications but they don't have them, then I can certainly do that as well. The other, just another couple of things, North Locality Health and Social Care Consortium, Activity Fund, application forms and further information can be circulated on that through the locality host at Cornerstone. So again, I can circulate that, or I can put that in the chat bar tonight. Just a third one was National Lottery Awards for All Scotland, the National Lottery Community Fund. Again, if people want to find out more about that, then I can put the contact within the chat bar tonight as well. Thanks, Chair.
Thanks, Christine. Does the chat bar not disappear when we finish? So
no, I'm not sure, Bill, but I can circulate it. That's not a problem.
Circulating might be better, yes.
Okay.
I know I've tried to find it afterwards on various meetings and it seems to disappear. Any questions to Christine on these items? Nope. Fiona, Community Coordinators update.
Just one thing from me, Chair. We're obviously getting to that time of the year where the council is fully focused on its one-year budget. So in January, just to highlight, there's work ongoing to consider what the community board consultation on that budget will look like. So I'm sure Christine will put me right, but there will be something going into the January meeting of this community board in terms of engagement around that budget.
The next meeting of the board is 28th of February.
Is it as late as that? So then we may then have to let Christine come in. We may have to set up a separate board engagement for it then, Christine.
Usually what happens is that there is special meetings. I think Bill, yourself and Alan had attended them previously. I see Matt's got his hand up as well. Normally it's usually out with the actual board, and we encourage as many people from the local communities as possible to come along. Matt, I don't know, do you want to add anything onto that?
Yeah, it's just to come in just at that point exactly, as there will be probably sometime in the middle of January, Bill, that we will be having further meeting regarding the budget. There will be an engagement meeting will take place. We're just finalising the dates, etc. for that at the moment. Intention most likely going to be that will be a meeting maybe of Kilsyth, Cumbernauld, Northern Corridor. We'll have a meeting. We'll have a meeting for Airdrie, Coatbridge, and we'll have a meeting for some of the meetings in the south. It won't be an individual board meeting on that basis. We're looking to join up some board meetings to try and do over less meetings, but have the same information shared. But that will be around about the middle 2 weeks in January. But we'll make sure that information comes out to everybody over the next few weeks to give people a bit of notice regarding that, and any information that's available as well. So that'll be coming out over the next few weeks.
Yeah.
Thank you, Matt. Fiona, anything else?
No, I think that's it. I think the actual budget, just to say the budget, the council's budget meeting's quite early in February this year anyway. I think it's something like the 15th of February we're aiming for. So just to let you know that in terms of the sessions that Matt's outlined for January.
Right. Okay. Good. Any questions to Fiona? Nope. Right. Local Development Programme, LDP, Matt and Christine.
Yeah, I'll come in there, Chair, thanks. Just to update on the report was issued regarding the local development programme, and people can see the progress of projects that have been ongoing in the area. Christine alluded to a couple of them earlier on in the meeting as well, just about where we are with some of those projects. We are in the middle of quite a big procurement exercise for quite a large number of play areas and a lot of hard standing areas, car parks, etc. And we're hoping to have the outcome of that over the next week or so. From there, we'll be assessing those tenders and moving those forward to delivery as soon as possible in the new year. Just to update into the council is reviewing its capital programme, and we are submitting a fresh application for funding on behalf of the local development programme to the capital programme. So if we're successful in that funding, years 4 and 5 of the local development programme will become years 1 and 2 of a new capital programme. So we're working on that at the moment, and we'll feed back to a future community board in relation to the capital programme funding that's available for the Kilsyth area and others. Thanks, Chair.
Right. Okay, thanks, Matt. Has anybody got any questions to Matt regarding the programme, the LDP? Nope. Right. Okay. I had some queries, but these were answered by a meeting with Christine the other day there. Right. Any other competent business? No? Are we all okay? Right. Well, the next meeting of the board, the Cyclic board, is the 28th of February, online. And obviously, as Matt said, we'll be meeting in January, in the middle 2 weeks in January, to consider the budget element of it all. If there's nothing else, I would thank everybody for attending and your presentations. And thanks very much, Stephen, for staying on. It's been a good meeting, and we've got through a lot of stuff in quite a short period of time. compared with the last meeting. When I got too involved in bridges and flooding. So I wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a happy and successful New Year when it comes. But I'll probably be speaking to you before then. But take care.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Chair.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Bill. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Good night.
Chair.